Good morning. We'll get started in just a moment. I'm going to wait another minute or so in case anybody else hops on and wants to start with us. If you're not already in a quiet place, just make sure you're somewhere comfortable and quiet where you're unlikely to be disturbed for the next half hour or so. Make sure your phone is on Do Not Disturb or that your notifications are turned off so you're not alerted to that during your meditation as well. So get into a comfortable position. You can either be seated or lying down, whichever feels better in your body today. Make any adjustments you need to get just as comfortable as possible. And when you're ready, slowly close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Hold it. And let the breath out. Take another deep breath in. Hold it, and let it go. Relax entirely. Just welcoming yourself into your practice this morning. And taking a second just to acknowledge how you're feeling in your body today, how you're feeling in your mind today. Noticing anything that's present for you, either physically or emotionally right now. We're all in the process of navigating an uncertain and seemingly chaotic time right now. Just know that this time here is a safe space for you to unpack anything that you're feeling if you need to. Or if you need a break from it, to set it aside for the next half hour. Just give yourself permission to be present. Giving yourself this time to heal and reset. When we're going through periods of high stress or anxiety, our stress response, our stress hormones, the fight or flight response in the body and the mind is much more highly active than it would be otherwise. We can find ourselves feeling a lot more anxious, more easily upset and irritable with other people, short with others. short with ourselves. Just know and trust that this practice of meditation and tuning in, slowing down daily and being present with yourself, being present with your breath, starts to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, or the healing response, the de-stressors that exist naturally in all of us. The world we live in now, even when there's not crazy societal issues happening, the world has conditioned us to being highly alert most of the time, ready to be immediately responsive to whatever notifications or alarms we get on our phone, the constant stimulus of interaction with other people out on the street or in public. And we're constantly bombarded with information to process and little mini stressors all the time that keep this sympathetic nervous system, this stress response, our cortisol levels much higher than they need to be. And thus it becomes even more important to take this time to balance your nervous system with the opposite effects, taking the time to slow down, to let that fight or flight response fade away, knowing that not every stressor is a threat to your existence, that we're a lot stronger than most of the stresses that we face. And that one good way to foster that knowingness and to sharpen our skills against those stresses is the practice of meditation and being present with our breath and with our bodies and giving ourselves this time to heal and reset. This practice of meditation and mindfulness, even if your thoughts wander sometimes, you still get the effects of the practice. Just being here with yourself will actually improve and thicken the rational parts of your brain that have to do with decision making, especially in times of greater stress. You'll be able to make those decisions, make those choices in accordance with your best interests and with a level head instead of reacting from the fearful parts of yourself. And through this practice, we begin to better differentiate the rational from the irrational parts of our thoughts and our brains. The more we can distinguish between those two things, the more we can separate from the less rational parts of ourselves and step out and look at those things objectively. Make better, less reactive decisions. Check in with your breathing here. See where you're feeling your breath in your body right now. Is your breath landing deep in your belly, or are you feeling it higher up in your chest? And if the latter is true, see if you can just even out that breath, sending some of it down, lower into your torso, expanding down into your belly on the inhale, and letting the breath drift up and out on your exhale. Big breath in, expanding on the inhale. Softening on the exhale. Continue following that breath in through the nose, expanding the torso in every direction. Exhaling through the mouth, relaxing and letting go. Just allowing yourself to detach from anything that's not serving your higher purpose here. Giving yourself permission to let go of anything that no longer feels good. Know that it's okay that if your thoughts wander a little bit through our meditation, that's a natural part of the process. Meditation is an ongoing practice and something we get better at over time. And this idea of shutting the mind off completely is a fallacy. It's not something we can actually do. We need our brains to function for us to survive. But through time, you can connect with the present more fully, the present parts of the brain, the less anxious parts. And those more active thoughts just start to fade into the background, almost going on mute. They're still there, they're still happening, keeping us functioning and alive, but not dominating the foreground of our brains. To find that feeling, deeply focus on your inhale, expanding out in every direction. See which muscles you can feel this breath in, which parts of the body. As you exhale, imagine any tension in the body just melting away, dissolving. Inhaling, filling up the entire body with oxygen. Exhale, melting any stress away. Now, in addition to your inhales and exhales, start to just observe that little space in between the breaths, in between the inhale and exhale. That little moment of stillness before the body exhales the breath. That small moment before your lungs begin to inhale again. Just start to get curious about what you can find, what you can discover in that little space in between the breaths. Letting it expand a little bit in between each. Not so much that you're holding the breath at the top or bottom, just noticing that space in between, just enough time to really observe that space. That little moment of stillness. If it's helpful here, you can imagine your breath as a body of water. Each inhale and exhale sends little ripples across the water. And in the spaces in between the inhale and exhale, the water smooths out, becomes clear. You're able to see what's below the surface, looking a little bit deeper with each moment of stillness. Focusing on that smoothness in between the breaths, that complete stillness, the calm. Nothing coming in or out, just completely serene. Inhale is how we ingest information, sensory information. That little pause is how we process and integrate that information. The exhale is sending back out what we've learned from that information. Information objectively, pausing to discover what we can know more deeply from that information. exhaling to send it back out to the world with some compassion. That second pause, just observing how it affects the world, people around you. Knowing that this process of observing the breath very much mirrors how we interact with people and how we affect other people in our real lives. How we take in and process the information that's given to us, and how we communicate that back out to those around us has an immediate and lasting effect on the people around us. Wouldn't it feel better if we could do all of this in a more calm and rational state? Sending out messages with compassion, love, nurturing, rather than getting caught up in an alarmist state, a reactive state. That's all easier said than done. But this is the practice. This is one way that we can hone that skill. Center and balance our minds. Keep observing that space between the breath. If you find that your thoughts are still wandering during this meditation, you can begin to attach your thoughts to the breath, so allowing those ripples to become your thoughts on the inhale. Taking that space in between the inhale and exhale to have a break from thinking. Just give yourself some quiet here, integrate the information, and exhale to let it all go. Observing that space at the end of the breath. And as you get better at expanding this space in between the breaths, begin to naturally hone your ability to put those thoughts on mute and let them fade into the background. They'll continue to do their job back there while you're here in the present, focusing on what you need to do to heal yourself right now, to show up more authentically in your life, more wholeheartedly. No information coming in or out on that space, just pure calm, pure quiet, stillness, peace. stay with this practice of observing that space between the breaths for the next few moments. And I'll call you back up when it's time. Give yourself one more complete cycle of breath here, fully filling up on your inhale. Observing that pause and letting go on your exhale. Letting your breath come back to a natural rhythm. Taking notice of how your breath feels different in your body now. Taking stock of how your body feels. Is there anywhere you've noticed expansion or relaxation occur? Checking in with your mind. Hopefully in a more relaxed state now, more calm. And either way, just thank yourself for giving yourself this time to practice, finding that center, that space of stillness, that moment of quiet where our true consciousness, the best versions of ourselves, exists. Knowing that you can come back to this meditation anytime to practice finding stillness. Knowing that it's okay if this stillness didn't quite show up for you today. Meditation is an ever-evolving practice, and we'll show up a little bit differently in our meditations each time we come to it. Just know that it gets a little bit better, a little bit easier with time and practice. I thank you for taking your time this morning to practice with me. May you go forward knowing your own worthiness of love, fulfillment, success, joy, and good health. You can stay with this meditation for as long as you'd like to. Otherwise, when you're ready, take a deep breath in and slowly open your eyes. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Have a great day.